we've got with us Mr. Blake, who is a Wing Chun instructor, and you work at what is the name of your school?
It's Norfolk Kung Fu.
Norfolk Kung Fu, and there's a website for that, NorfolkKungFu.com.
Exactly, yeah.
Great.
Right.
And you said you do Wing Chun, right? How is that
Yeah,
different from other styles of Kung Fu?
We pride ourselves on being a center line focus, right? Every martial arts style needs to be, it has some cognizance of how to manage the center line, but Wing Chun, we tend to use a sensitivity about managing the center line, not just like understanding like where a person's center line is, but being very specific about how we control, right, their body mechanics along that line. So we'll engage them typically with two hands. We're not really like one-handed fighters like boxing tends to be, or like karate sometimes, right? Two hands at once, right? And we're really focused on, if you come just a bit off that center line, that central zone where you should be protecting yourself, we're gonna be down that, and yeah, you're gonna get hit. So we have a lot of drills around that sensitivity. You know, it becomes even more challenging too, right? So it starts off first with like an awareness of that central zone for your body, right, that your hands can feel, right? And then we go to the weapons, right? So you got the pole, which is about at the tip of it like a quarter width, right? So you have like almost a 10-foot pole. You know, you're a good ways from the person, but you have to be very specific about how you are guarding that central zone, even still at the width of a quarter. So, and then it becomes even more challenging when you have a blade. So 2 blades of that, right? So it's like this thin. So there, yeah, exactly, right? So now you have blades with, right? You have, you know, a sharp object, and then 2 at that point in time, right? So now having an awareness of that central line is super important, right? But you know, Wing Chun isn't just about that control on that central zone. It's also about changing, right? Wing Chun is continually changing, right? In that you cannot offer the same structure or the same approach to any moment of engagement from moment to moment. You have to be having awareness and sensitivity to change, right? And that also requires, you know, like being calm, being able to breathe and focus and feel.
Where do you think that Wing Chun fits into this world of MMA, and like you said, compared to other styles of martial arts?
And that kind of goes back to this, right? Traditional Wing Chun just does not fit in MMA, because Wing Chun doesn't really allow for the sparring or the circling kind of thing that you have in MMA. Whereas Wing Chun, our goal is to really run through that person, right? So it will be up close and personal from the jump. If you were doing Wing Chun in the ring, you wouldn't do too much circling around. You try to get in the middle and just go for it, you know. And that's how traditionally I was taught. You know, I got beat up a lot trying to learn Wing Chun because there's no play. There's not much play. You get in and you go. My teacher would always say, when I move, you move. And it was more so like, I'm going to go when you're going to go, and we're going to go 100% right away, you know. So,
who would have known that Ludacris had something right with that? When I move, you move.
Seriously, yeah.
Just like
actually,
that.
He would go. When I move, you move. Just like that. Yeah. So,
It's the rules. The rules that are in MMA do not apply out on the street. There's no referee to say, "Hey, you hit him in the groin. Stop."
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I think maybe like if we had like a middle ground between kind of sport and a little more raw, maybe like the early days of MMA when there was very few rules. I think MMA, or sorry, Wing Chun could fit in that environment a lot better, because there's kind of like a more of a no holds barred thing, and you wouldn't have to like limit your reactions. That's not to say that you don't have to be very proficient as well as a fighter. It's like you got to hedge your bet. You know, how much do you really want to fight?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that with martial arts, there are professional fighters, there are amateur fighters, there are people who want self-defense, there are people who want it for meditation, fitness, community. There's a million reasons to do martial arts, not just MMA. And I think Wing Chun is, in my humble opinion, I think Wing Chun is great because it balances all these very well. You get pretty much every aspect of martial arts dipped into at least somewhat. So you mentioned your kung fu uncle. So
Yeah.
with kung fu, it's a family structure, right? So it's, your
Yeah.
teacher's your father, your teacher's your grandfather. What is your lineage and in Wing Chun?
Yeah, so Itman is like, our great, he's the founder, right? So Itman taught, this guy's name was Moyat. He was a small, skinny, tall Chinese guy, right? Moyat. And he lived with Itman for, I think, 14 to 17 years, right? Once he achieved a certain level of proficiency, he left. He traveled to America, lived in Manhattan, right, with his wife and kids, right. So my Sigum grandfather, Anthony Dandridge, who's very much alive these days, Moyat passed, I believe, early '90s, maybe '80s. He lived with Moyat, Anthony Dandridge, for I think 7 or 14 years. It was a long while, and he got the kung fu name. When you're a disciple, you receive a name from your teacher, right? So Anthony Dandridge is named Muay Thong, which is man from the east, and he was called that man from the east because he had lived with his teacher or my Tai Gong, and he adopted Eastern ways, So Muay
Mm.
Thong, he named my teacher Andre Conyers. He named him Muay Sum Tong, which is third man from the east, and that's also my name as well, Muay Sum Tong Yi. So yeah, that's my lineage. Ip Man, Moyat, Moy Tong,
Wow.
Moy Sum Tong, and then me. So I think that's what, 4 generations, right? 5 generations, yeah.
Wow. Where can people find you?
At Norfolk_Kung Fu on Instagram, right? And then I believe it's Norfolk Kung Fu on Facebook, and obviously our website is NorfolkKungFu.com.
Copy that.
And you also host online classes right now for people who are afraid with COVID, or maybe people who are in different states but still want to learn from you. Is that available on your website as well?
Yeah, I'm right at the top. You can do book now, and you can see the online courses, the credentials there. It's not free, you have to join, of course, but we do the Zoom classes on Fridays at 5 p.m. And it's about an hour long. Mostly like you don't get the tactile feel of Kung Fu. But what you do get is like the introduction to what is Kung Fu, what is Wing Chun, and we really go in on the forms, like I told you before, trying to explain the use of these things, trying to explain the geometry and the approach, the ebb and flow, at least on an intimate basis, right? Through media as best you can, right?
Mm.
About Wing Chun, So yeah, online course. We had to do that, of course, because because COVID, is like pop everyone's bubble. You got to figure it out. You got to
Yeah.
adapt. I actually really do enjoy it though. It's really helped me refine my ability to explain things. It's really helped me think more clearly about how should I illustrate this concept if I really can't touch you and show you, right? Instead of just saying, hey, do this, I gotta talk through it, and all the small little details, like how far your elbow is away from your body, like how
Mm.
how you're actually pointing your fingers towards the sky, those things, and the intent and energy behind it. How do you talk through those things? So that's helped me teaching, has helped me in the writing, So it's kind of been a good thing too as well. It is
Mm.
very challenging though, but we do what we can.
Lots of blessings in disguise this year.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
really, really setting us back to help us to see what really matters.
Right, right. Yeah. Very true. Very true. That's kind of one thing too. Like, seafood was taken this year early on. He didn't. It was early in this year, so he did not experience COVID. I
Mm.
can only imagine what he would be saying now about all this craziness. But I know one thing for sure is that he would still be training. He would still be training as
Mm.
much as he could. And as far as like what you appreciate for this time, we don't have our seafood any longer, but we do have his wife. We do have his SEMO, Jalon Littles. She loved to do, until he died. And that's kind of one thing that makes me think about, like, you really should appreciate the people who are here with you now. Appreciate the time you have now. And maybe use it towards something that's positive. That you love. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I appreciate your time. Appreciate you
Thank
joining
you.
us,
I
giving us some insight. Make
appreciate
sure
it,
y'all
brother.
go check out those links and don't be a stranger.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. You guys take care. Be safe out here.
All right, now you as well.
All
This
right.
has been another edition of the Bing Zang Zoom podcast. We'll see you next time.